a small amount of real estate taxes to Rowley and a large amount to Ipswich. But my driveway comes into the main street on Rowley, and therefore the electric power comes from Rowley. So I get my power from you guys. I've recently been exploring the possibility of solar power, and I was disappointed to learn that Rowley has a limit of a 40% reduction on the bill, whereas Ipswich has an 80% reduction on the bill. And I'm just wondering whether there's any possibility of an exception or something there. It is a personal residence, but my daughter does operate her, she's a horse trainer and a dressage instructor, so the barn has a lot of lights and the indoor has a lot of lights, and so my electric bill is doubled since she arrived, and I was hoping to do something about that.
Okay.
So just so the board understands, you're looking to have a system that's over the 10 kW limit.
Yes.
So we have two net metering policies. We have one that goes 0 to 10, and we have one that goes 10 to 500. The 10 to 500 has a limit on your demand of what you can actually put back into the system, or the size of the system compared to the size of the bill that the customer has.
Mhm.
And that's what he's referring to as the limitation.
Is it tied into the mills?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. It's strictly on a demand basis, which I don't even know if he has a demand meter on his house right now. So
No, it's just a regular meter.
Okay.
So my question is basically, is there any chance, what should I do?
Well, seeing it's citizen query, we can't answer it because it's not on the agenda, but we can take it, and it's up to the chairman if we put this on the agenda for next month.
Okay, so there's some possibility?
We would have to discuss it at another meeting.
excuse me, Bob. The net metering policy review is on the agenda,
Oh, okay.
so we can actually, if you want, if it's up to you. I mean, I'm just saying that's on the agenda anyway.
Okay.
So
All right.
that's part of
Yep.
that. So we can talk about it when it comes up at that time.
Okay.
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 May I speak? My name is Phil Town at 22 Bennett Hill Road, and this is my first time coming to a electric Rowley Municipal Electric meeting. And since the power outages last year, it's been a concern of mine and my family's about the power loss during these storms, and it made me think that in the future we might have grid failure, with the infrastructure becoming older and older around the country. This kind of thing might happen more often. I'm just wondering what, as a town, we're going to do to possibly reduce the catastrophe by having a more independent and sustainable type of backup system. I'm just wondering what Rowley's going to do in the future to possibly have emergency power for Market Basket or the schools or a shelter. If there's any plans to do anything in that regard. It seems like I haven't heard anything to that effect, and I'm hoping that it's something that, as a town and as a municipal electric department, we can begin to address.
Phil, we can't, again, citizen query, but we are going to discuss tree trimming tonight, okay? So we can get into a little bit, okay? Not everything.
Okay.
Sound good, Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
Okay.
You got about 5 minutes to go. If you want to use up all your time.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I guess what I'm driving at is we're going to be talking about net metering tonight, and the whole idea that we might have a new solar farm coming online, and we already have an existing one over on Central, and houses across Rowley are having more solar than ever, and it just seems like it's a natural way to possibly harness some kind of backup system in the event of a catastrophic grid failure, where we're losing power for more than a day or two, but maybe a week or two, or maybe longer. And it just seems like we should be looking down the line. I know it's probably a costly endeavor, but find some practical ways to harness this power. You know, if we're looking at the Tesla battery walls or something, to at least know that we can keep certain things in town functional when the diesel runs out, or if we have a pandemic and people aren't even moving around, and we've lost power, we at least have some power. And this seems like it's something we should be keeping our eye on.
If you go back into our discussions, okay, of previous meetings, going back almost a year ago, a lot of that was addressed, okay, here at the table. So you might want to go back and check some of them about a year and a half ago. Okay.
Okay.
I think that would help, Phil.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can comment to that too. Brian DeBerger, 500 Weathersfield Street. To kind of back up what Phil's saying, or to kind of reinforce that, I think as the opportunities come up with the state or other endeavors, we should continue to pursue or look to pursue battery storage options when they become available as either grant programs or incentives at the state level, and other opportunities like that. So. Obviously, having more solar in town or a usable, large-scale solar installation, if we can harness that and collect it and utilize it in the battery storage capability, at least for something like the public safety building or our critical infrastructure, we should pursue that aggressively when those opportunities come up.
Sure. Okay, that looks like it's about done on the citizens' query. Item number 2 is next. And it's review and accept previous meeting minutes.
Very good. I'll get one to you.
Okay.
I've read them.
That Bob, okay, you can sign off on it and we can pass it around.
I'll give you a motion to accept the minutes.
I second that motion.
Motion made and seconded to accept the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Item number 3, tree trimming program.
I believe we, at our last meeting, we wanted to talk about the tree trimming program, and just, I'll give the board an overview of how it works in town and for the audience as well. Basically, what Rowley does for a tree trimming program, we do a 3-year program, and we're actually right now in the midst of redoing our bid documents and zone requirements for the tree trimming for the next 3 years. We do a 3-year program in order to keep up with the trimming in town. The tree trimming program is strictly for trimming the lines 10 feet out, 10 feet up around the power lines at the top of the pole. It is not a takedown program. And what we do is, if we encounter a tree along the roadway that during the trimming process that is a danger to the lines, we'll address it at that point. But the tree trimming program is strictly to trim the trees around the lines at different sections in town. And we come up with a 3-year program by doing the town in sections. So each section will take a certain amount of time depending on how thick the trimming is. And then we'll move on to the next section the following year and the next section the following year. Then we rotate back and start over again that 4th year.
Okay, Steel Tree Trimming is working on Pleasant Street this morning.
They're not working for the town, not working for the light department, as far as I know.
Yeah, I don't know, they had people there, they had police officers in place and the whole thing.
I know the town is doing some trimming is for a lot of the oak trees that were dead in town. I think they're doing some trimming, but
Maybe they're
I'm
tied
not
up-
sure.
I'm not sure who they're tied up with, but.
yeah.
We lost an awful lot of oaks last year, and
Yeah.
then this year they just didn't come back, from the gypsy moths.
The town is working, they did a bid process and they're looking to take down a whole bunch of trees in town. I'm not sure. I've talked to the highway surveyor a few times about it, and we've told them in the past, they've approached us about helping with trees that would be a danger to the lines, and we accepted that, and we would help them. We just need to get together with them to talk about it.
And, speaking of the tree trimming, going back this past winter, when we had the outages, those outages were caused not by in town, but from, coming in from Georgetown and down by Kings.
King Street.
By King
Yeah.
Street, that they had, over in Georgetown, they had lost in the right-of-ways. So, and I understand Brad Hill has aggressively gone after National Grid and about their right-of-way tree trimming. And, we're at the mercy of them, but in Ipswich, naturally, because they're at the end of the line, they were affected also. And I know during the outages in February, March, that Facebook, I was following it on Facebook, and Brad Hill was aggressively going after and pointing out the places that there were outages. And he's probably a good one to talk to about that, but he's been going after aggressively.
Okay. If you encounter a tree that's deemed to be a hazard that's on private property, do you mark that, notify the homeowner, and is it their responsibility to take it down, or is that something RMLP does as part of that tree trimming program?
We've worked with homeowners before to basically split the cost, especially if a homeowner wants a tree down in their front yard where it is deemed a hazard, whether it be dead or dying. We've worked with homeowners before to basically split the cost of taking the tree down on private property. So we will identify that tree. We may not take it down right away, but we keep a list of trees that we've identified as hazards, and we address them at not during the tree trimming, but at a different time of year.
And this covers primaries and secondary mains, correct? It doesn't cover services going from the pole to the house, or do you guys trim that as well?
It does not cover services going from the pole to the house.
So that would be the responsibility of the homeowner?
Yeah. Yeah. On private property.
Yep.
So we're in what year of the 3-year program?
We are in the we've actually finished the tree trimming program, and we're starting the bid process now.
Okay.
So once we award the bid, it'll start after the first of the year, the new program. We tend to trim when the leaves are off the trees. It certainly makes it a lot easier for the trimmers and everybody involved.
Okay. I got nothing else. Item number 5 is RMLP arrears.
No, we got number 4.
Number 4. Okay. Net metering policy review would be number 4.
So
Yeah, so I think we wanted to kind of talk about what was brought up at that last meeting that we had that, I've got it here somewhere. You give me 1 second. Oh, that Todd Hasselbeck had brought up regarding the possibility of RMLP changing its net metering policy going forward. You know, he had provided us with a hyperlink to, I believe it was the Acadia Center's website, where they discussed the different ways that other for-profit power companies have offered payback to their solar customers within their, you know, their towns. Eversource, National Grid typically are paying full retail price, whereas we don't. We pay the average LMP. Is that correct for the month?
Average LMP for the load zone for that billing month.
Correct. Which, quite frankly, I believe to be the right thing. We're paying the cost of energy. You know, National Grid and Eversource are mandated by the state to fund these programs to get solar, you know, out there. And, you know, solar is definitely it's a noble cause. It may not be for everybody, and I applaud people that put it up there, but I don't think that the burden to make up the difference in rate from, say, what they're being reimbursed at right now. I know for last month I paid back, I believe it was 4 cents to my net metering customers, and I think Rowley's rate right now is around 17 cents.
Yeah, 16 and a half, 17.
So I don't think, you know, the burden should be on the rest of the customers to make up that difference. Granted, it's a small proportion right now, but were you to, you know, increase it to that rate, full net metering, of course, a lot more people are going to, you know, jump on board that wagon, and I think it just becomes something that eats itself. The more people that buy into it, the fewer people have to make up that difference. You have to raise the rate, or you have to do something with a distribution charge. It's just, you know, it's kind of the way I see it. I'd kind of like to know you guys, what your opinions are on it.
What do the other public powers do?
Most of them do a LMP type the same way we do it. There are a few that offer full retail credit. There's not many. They're all over the place. I can get you more information if you'd like on that. I mean, I think there's been a couple of surveys done with public power utilities to give what they give for a credit. I can definitely get that information for you.
Yeah, I think you need to look at it and, you know, get some information on this first.
Yeah, but I would say, you know, because I've seen that information, I would say at least 80% are doing the same thing we are. It may vary just a little bit about the way the policy is actually worded, and that comes down to local board decisions, how they want to handle that.
How do you do it, Ken?
I do basically the same thing as Dan does. We do average LMP for the month. So it does vary, you know, sometimes it's down lower in the upper 2 cents. Like I said, last month it was around 4 cents. I think back in January it was higher, but then again, the average LMP for the month was up because of power usage. It was so cold.
Okay.
So, you know, it does go up and down, but it never gets really.
I'd say the average for the year is probably between 3 and 4 cents, if I had to guess.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's not to say, too, the new MLP Smart program is going to be rolling out. I know the state is going to be looking to enroll different MLPs in it, and they're going to be offering, I believe it's a matching grant.
Matching, yeah.
You know,
matching
and
grant.
that's possibly something that we could look at getting into once we know even more about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
Yeah, that hasn't rolled out yet. They were anticipating rolling it out as the same time as the, what's the name of the program that the state just rolled out? Smart.
Regular smart?
Yeah, Smart. It's just Smart,
Yeah, it's
right?
It's not the specialized one for us.
More to it than that, yeah.
Yeah.
No, the Smart program, they were anticipating rolling out the Muni Smart program at the same time, but apparently they ran into a snag with something and they're just working on a few minor edits. So when it comes out, I'll definitely address the board as far as what it is and how we want to handle the Muni Smart program, the net metering policy, how we're all going to mesh that all together, and I'm sure we can address that at that time.
Okay, we get more information and come back and in that meeting again next month.
And the reason that is just so you know, and so the audience knows, is the SREC 2 program will end. And what happened was when the legislator drew up the SMART program, municipalities were exempt. Whereas before, anybody with a solar array, and even in the municipal territory, was eligible to get SRECs, solar renewable energy credits. When they drafted the SMART program, they exempted municipalities, so now any customer, any new customer in a muni program that has solar would not be eligible for anything. So, and that's the reason why the municipalities got together and started talking to the DOER about a municipal SMART program, because our customers would lose out because basically the state wrote us out of the SMART program. So that's just kind of a background on how that all came about.
Okay, now we can go to RMLP.
One other thing, if we can add into that, to Mr. Williams' point, can we look into other commercial policies that are offered by commercial solar policies for the larger scale installations to
Okay.
see if they offer, what they offer as far as reductions? I know you had mentioned that Ipswich allows up to an 80% reduction of the bill. I guess currently we allow 40% reduction. If there's any way that we can get some more information on that.
Okay. I'll get them more information, and if you leave an email on that form, okay, I'll definitely, once I find out more information, I'll email you as well, just to let you
Can I
know.
ask a question? Or is it not time yet?
Well, is it still on the same?
Bill, it's a question on net metering.
Okay.
It- I'm an electrical engineer, and so I know if the meter runs backward, it's the same in both directions.
Mhm.
I understand why you can't pay full retail price,
Mhm.
but I don't understand how this averaging thing compares with the retail price that I'm paying for electricity. Is it close to it, or
Well,
very?
the retail price you pay to the Raleigh Municipal Light Plant includes distribution charges, it includes, basically, we're charging you to run the plant.
Mhm.
So when we credit the customer for any energy that is delivered back to the municipality, that is strictly energy. There's no distribution charge. There's nothing involved with that. So what we credit you is strictly energy we buy wholesale.
Oh, it's a wholesale versus a retail kind of price
Correct.
scale.
That's
Okay.
correct. So we would, if you delivered to us 100 kilowatt hours in a month, if the credit was 2 cents kilowatt hour, you get a credit for that amount. It's as simple as that. It's not complicated, and I have a copy of both. I don't know if you have a copy of the net metering policy.
No. Yeah, if you could, I'll take it now, or you can email it to me. Thank you.
That's the commercial one, the 10 to 500.
Why is there a difference between Ipswich's 80 and Raleigh's 40?
It's basically, it's up to the governing board, the commissioners, to determine policy within the town. Ipswich has its own policy board, so they determined that that's what they wanted to offer. It's as simple as that. It's really, Ipswich is an MWIC member, Raleigh's not an MWIC member. That's really all there is to it.
For many, many years, Ipswich supplies the energy for this community.
Right. What's that?
It's on the notion of comparing the wholesale versus the retail. To Kevin's point, once you have a lot of people in the town that are on, either say on solar, say you have half the town that's on solar, contributing into some sort of net metering program, if you're paying back at full retail rate, yes, you're losing, revenue or whatnot, but you can offset that by having some sort of flat rate service fee that, covers what your distribution is. Because really, if you're only looking at the retail side, you're kind of ignoring the distribution side that you don't no longer have to pay outside the town to bring that, you know, same power into it. So you may be paying the customers at 2 cents or 3 cents on the wholesale rate, but you're not buying that power outside the town to have to, you know, incur a distribution cost to National Grid.
But-
You know, you have to cover your costs internally for, you know, your linemen and things like that, but is it 10 cents? You know, could it be something smaller that's a, you know, more reasonable, say, flat fee or something like that? So, you know, I would encourage that, you know, look at that as you're reviewing the other towns and seeing that there's, you know, there are differences in the towns and how they do it.
Mhm.
You know,
On the flip side of that, you know, the grid or whoever the supplier is on the transmission side, they need to maintain the transmission system in order to feed our, you know, attached load here, the full attached load. Say if something happened here and the panels got wiped out, say you have a hurricane, and I can show you guys pictures of the results of that if you guys would like. But, you know, they have to still be able to do that, and maybe you would see them imposing some kind of fee on us, a transmission maintenance fee beyond what we already pay.
Right.
And Ipswich had done that to us. And they finally got to a point where they wanted us to give them the 8%. Rather than just saying, having it sit there. And Rowley at that point looked at that and said, we're not gonna do it that way. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take that money that they're looking for, and we're gonna build a substation. And that's where the substation came from. That has been there ever since.
So I think it's just one of those transitional times for the industry. More people are starting to adopt it. That's fantastic. I think you're going to see even more people starting to adopt the Tesla Powerwalls, which are another fantastic item.
Right.
I love seeing them going in, even though it, you know, we're not getting as much money out of, our customers, that take place in that, but, they're doing a smart thing for the environment. So, yeah, there are some things that we need to look at, we will look at, and we will readdress later, but for the time being, at least, I am looking to stay with the policy as is.
Could you give me a rough feel for whether wholesale is 80% or 90% or 50% of retail?
Well, let's say our retail rate right now, what you pay is about 16.5 cents. What we would get wholesale is probably 5 cents. It depends. Wholesale is complicated. It's basically you could get right down to every 15-minute period or every hour it's a different rate. So that's why we average it over a certain amount of time.
Is there anything else you need to know from me at this time in order to proceed with my request?
If you could fill out the form that's on there, there's actually a request form, a net metering application in there. So if you could give me details on the system size and have Todd fill that out. It's Todd, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Have
yes.
Todd fill that out, and then we can talk some more about the system and what you're aiming to do with it.
I'm trying to decide whether to do it or not to do it, and if I can only cut my extra electric bill by 40%, I probably won't do it.
Right. Well, and like I said, that is based on demand. I don't know if you have a demand meter in your house. I haven't looked into your account yet, so I don't even know if we could actually base it on a demand if you don't even have a demand. So we have to dig internally into your household and what your usage is. We can't break down your usage as far as time of day, so I don't know what you're using during the day compared to at night.
Is a demand meter simply electric meter says how many kilowatts are coming through, or?
No, it actually has another component where it measures 15-minute increase in demand.
Oh.
So every 15 minutes it samples the amperage that goes into your house, and it tells us what that kW demand is at that time, and it gives us a better idea of what you're drawing in a small amount of period. a small period.
Okay.
But not, they may look the same, but they could be different internally.
I guess one thing to Ralph, right?
Yes.
You had the question essentially of, can you get service from RMLP or Ipswich Power?
Well, I have called them,
Okay.
but installing a wire from the street to my property, goes halfway on poles and then I have to go underground. It's a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How far back are you from the street? Substantial way?
That'd be 600 feet.
Yeah, okay.
It's a long, long way.
Are you a single-phase or a three-phase service?
What's the Nag's Head, right?
I think it's three-phase.
Is it Nag's Head?
Yes,
It's single phase.
single-phase. Okay.
Yeah.
I do have a 220. It's, okay,
Yeah, it's single phase down there.
single-phase.
Yeah.
And what was the size of the system you were looking to put on again?
I don't remember offhand what the size was. Todd sent me some emails, which I can forward to you, that kind of, although he's probably talked with you, but you may not remember everything.
No, he didn't mention the system size to
Oh.
me,
Okay.
so,
I'll
He-
forward some emails to, could you give me your email address?
yes. I'll write
I'll
it back.
I'll forward his proposal to you.
Okay. One other quick question. I know you said your daughter was in there doing something with
She trains
horse training?
horses and gives lessons, so there's a business, but it's our personal residence, but it has a barn and an indoor.
Okay.
At this time, can you give me any feeling as whether there's no way in hell or that there might be possible?
It's difficult because we don't know what you're really proposing as far as the system size. If we have some more and that's why I said that if you could fill that out,
Okay.
we'd have a better understanding of what you're trying to do as far as the system size and where your KW, because if you're 9.9, you're under the 10 KW and that demand feature does not apply. And 10 KW is a good sized system. So if you could do that, if you could
Yeah,
fill that out and
okay.
get it to us,
I'll
it
try to
would
do
be
that.
helpful.
Okay, is there anything else you need to know from me, or I'll see you at the next meeting, I guess, to proceed? Thank you very much
Yep.
for hearing me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.
Okay. It's RMLP arrears. Get it right this time.
You got it.
So, just a quick update where we are. First of all, I don't have any reports to offer you. We were having difficulty with the system. We weren't able to get the same reports we got last time. But we were able to get a total arrears. This is all ages. It's about $224,000 right now. And that's all ages. That's 0 to 150. So that's split up among a large grouping. And that did not include miscellaneous, correct, Eric?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So arrears, 224,000.
Yeah, this is residential, commercial, this is everybody in town.
We put any liens on or anything like that?
We do liens, we haven't done any liens lately, but we usually go through the process of doing liens. It's a large number, but it's spread out over a large amount of because one of the reports we were gonna print out was 400 pages. So it's spread out amongst a number of different, and it may be going from as little as $5
Mhm.
to as much as, I don't know, I think the largest one was 20,000. But, so, that's what I'm saying, we can lien somebody for $5 if you'd like, but the cost for recording it is $150, so it's not financially worth it for us to lien somebody for a small amount of money. So we do aggressively go through a debt collection process.
So we're right now, we're between 0 and 150 days out. We're talking about that.
Right, and let me, this is a number that I have right now, let me dig into it deeper, let me get
Okay.
the actual reports, and that way I can, I'm a little, well, I guess I can send you the reports, but I would be a little hesitant only because it has customer information on it.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I would say I can get totals for you, and then I can send you the report page that has the totals on it, that way you can see where the arrears are at this time. But let me get the actual reports through the Norton data system, and then I can get you the actual numbers.
Of that $224,000, you have a rough idea of how much is commercial and how much is industrial or small business?
I would say commercial is the lesser of the two, definitely.
Mhm.
I think commercial is only around, 40, 50,000, if that. Commercial we've had, believe it or not, is the better of the two classes as far as paying the bill. Because we can shut them off any time of year. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Anybody over 150
No.
days?
Oh, arrears?
Yep, over
Yes.
150 days?
Yes.
Okay. And what, do you have that figure?
No, I
Okay.
don't. Like I said, let me dig into it and get the reports done, and then I can definitely get those numbers for you.
Okay. Is the 224,000 you're talking about is just 0 to 150 days, and not beyond the
No,
150?
that's everybody.
That's
That's
everything.
everything.
That's everything.
That's
Okay, so
everything.
we could have quite a few beyond the
Right.
150 days, okay. Right. Yeah, I think that would be the one we'd need to really concentrate on.
And we do, and this includes, as far as I know, Eric, it includes the people that we've sent to collection.
Those are just active customers.
These are just active customers, right? So these aren't the ones that we've already sent to collection, because those would not be active.
Okay. I think we're running in that time of year too, where collections stop, at least residentially, where we can no longer shut off. October's the last month, correct?
No, I think November.
They may extend it out to November 15th.
Right, we typically stop, and I know we typically stop in October.
Yeah, we'll do our last one the beginning of November.
Gotcha.
But that's just residential. Commercials.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Cool.
Okay? Now we got one more item. Number 6. Item number 6 is general manager's job adverse statement.
So we talked at the last meeting about my job and advertising for it. So I know I had sent you a couple of emails with draft, and this is a draft. This is by no means the final. So I would say we need to do, if you would like to make any edits to it, we do edits to it, and then I'll be able to post it. I'll let you do a quick read on it, and then we can talk about it.
Okay.
That's good, Dan, I think. How long would this be out for?
That's totally up to you.
Okay.
That's I guess the next thing we need to talk, well, first, if this is okay, then I would post it, and you would have to give me a time frame as far as how long you want it posted for. Because I think one of the questions I had was, the actual application deadline I have on here is October 31st, but it's already the 10th today.
So they give us on
So,
3 weeks.
right. But that's, like I said, this is, purview as far as how you want to handle this, so I'd be asking for what you want for that date and where you want it posted.
I'm totally on board with the way it's written. I've been,
Yeah.
looking at it for a while since you sent it out first for comments and editing.
What do you think about a deadline date, Kevin?
I think we're gonna have to push it in November, but I would hesitate to push it any further than November
Yeah, yeah.
15th, because we're really getting into,
Yeah,
we're really pushing it at that point, to get people in here and to sit down and have
because you're
interviews
right.
and/or vet them.
We're gonna be right into the middle of the holidays, and
People are gonna be taking time off,
Yeah.
as you're saying, because of holidays. Staff here may be taking time off, so they may not be available to give input on it.
what do you think, the 9th?
I like the 9th better than the 15th, yes.
Yeah, that would give us at least another week.
And I would drop it in NEPA, absolutely. Do we go so far as to throw it into APPA as well? Or, what's your feeling on that? APPA, you're gonna end up with, some public power, but I also think you're gonna end up getting some IOU candidates. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just a
Yeah.
broader net.
What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, you like to have when you've got a good candidate
Yeah.
in the position at this point, to try to make sure it doesn't go south on you.
I think the 9th would be November 9th.
Yeah.
That would,
Okay.
okay. The board feel that?
Absolutely.
So you want to post it on the NEPA website? Anywhere else right now, or just NEPA website? And
What do you think, Kevin?
I would almost lean towards throwing it on APPA as well, just to get some more interest out there.
Okay.
See if there's more interest out there, see if anybody is looking to move here, though, quite frankly, I'd like to have a local candidate.
I mean, New England Power is very unique, compared to another part of the country.
I think we're gonna actually have some very good applications from some qualified people from around here that could fill the job very well.
anything else, or was that the only edit as far as the date and?
The date. I'll give you a motion to
I see nothing different.
put that out there.
I second that motion.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sounds
So
good.
more than likely, it will be on the NEPA website tomorrow or Friday.
Excellent.
More than likely, so we'll see where it goes.
Okay.
And APPA, I'm not sure, I'll have to figure out what the process is for putting that on there, but I'll definitely get on, it'll probably be on there next week, I'd assume. And that's good, it's gonna be a slight cost, I think, but I don't think it's gonna be that much.
No.
I'll give you a motion to adjourn. There's nothing else, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
I second it.
motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.